So first off is the new Shrieker Nest side objective. These are the easiest to deal with or become the largest threat if you fight alongside them for too long. So why I say they're easy to deal with is because now we have the Quasar, which allows you to just shoot it twice, and that's one nest down from more than 150 meters away. So you're able to take out the Shriekers and you don't use any ammo or anything. If you really need to destroy the nest up close, you have nothing else to destroy them with, like you didn't bring anything, you didn't bring EATs or a cordless rifle or a Quasar. So now you'll have to run in and put a hell bomb down, and hopefully it doesn't get destroyed before you set it off. But it's a lot easier since the Shriekers don't alarm the enemies around them unless they're really close. Before, if a Shrieker saw you, then all the enemies would see you and then they would call reinforcements. Another thing to note here is that the Shriekers used to be able to kill you whenever they would die and run their corpse into you. Now that seems to do just as much damage as a regular attack does. So the second Terminate objective, the Stalker lair. So the Stalker lair is also a priority target. I feel like every time you see one, you should just go kill it before you do anything else. Tidbit, every objective can be seen on the map. So the Shrieker Nest can be seen on the map also, but you don't really need to see it from the map because you can see it across the map. The Stalker Nest is on the ground, but they are very easy to spot when looking at the map. You can then ping the map at the location you think it's at, and it'll ping it as a Stalker Nest, even if you don't see it. So just like the Shrieker Nest, the Stalker will start spawning 150 meters away from you. So if you do see a Stalker or multiple Stalkers, it's because you've come into proximity of them about 150 meters. So they're really close to you. The Stalker Nest comes in two different types. One with a pool right next to it. It's like a little water pool. And the other one is just a large nest. But the one with the pool, you can use that pool to dance with the Terminids by skirting along the edge, running them back and forth. So the Stalker's face is his weak point. Around the body, it's all armored, so you gotta hit it right in the face. That's why it kind of covers it with his mantis hands. But if you hit it just right in the face, it will die extremely quickly, and it won't fling you away. Before, you could just kind of bypass the Stalkers with the Slugger. You just shoot them and they would get stunned, but now that has been patched out. So you'll have to use something like the Punisher now. So I really like using stun grenades instead of impact grenades. I know impact grenades are the meta thing, but stun grenades are just fun for me. So I use stun grenades a lot. But because of that, a lot of times I don't have the ability to kill Terminate holes or Stalker nests. So what I do is I drop a supply pod or an expendable anti-tank stratagem like right at the edge of the Stalker nest to destroy it, and then use the expendable anti-tank to destroy the other nest. So the last Terminate side objective is going to be the Spore Spewer. There really isn't much to say about the Spore Spewer. You can kill it with any weapon from afar. You can shoot it with a primary weapon. It doesn't matter. Shotgun. If you can hit it, you can kill it from 500 meters away. That's it. It's that easy. The fog that the Spore Spewer makes doesn't hinder the Terminate side at all. So they can see you perfectly fine. You just can't see them. And the last thing about the Spore Spewer is that there's some samples underneath it, about probably like 4. So if you're feeding for samples, you know exactly where some are. So now on to the Terminate main objectives. We're going to have Purge Hatcheries and Exterminate Terminids. Not really too much there. But Purge Hatcheries, basically you're going to have 3 hatcheries that you're going to have to go down and destroy. They are not equal usually. So on Helldive, they come as 31 eggs and then 31 eggs and then 60 eggs. So there's going to be one hatchery that has 60 eggs. So the best way to do this is to drop initially on the 60 eggs hatchery, which is going to be most likely the hatchery that is farthest away from the extraction point. Then you'll drop a nuke on the largest mound of eggs you can find, and that should take out most of those eggs, and then you've done the 1/3 of the mission in 5 seconds. So then you head on to the next hatchery. Sometimes these hatcheries can get overwhelming because there's so many nests within it. So instead of doing the reinforcement loop, I'll just kind of run to the next hatchery almost right away. And if you're far enough away from the hatchery or from enemies, they'll despawn eventually. So you can go to the next hatchery, try to kill as many as you can, then come back. It does take time, but if you have too many enemies, sometimes it's better for them to despawn than for you to try to kill them all. So on to the second type of mission, the Exterminate Terminids. So ever since they changed the spawn rates of little Terminids, the hunters have been way too insane to do this on Helldive solo. So the best thing to do against Terminids is to kill them, run, kill them, run. Just basically just kite until they're all dead. but because you spawn in such a small area, you cannot retreat back, so they just swarm you. So I just go like full flame build with EMPs and stuns, and best I can get was like medic armor, just try to get some, because you're gonna get hit, so might as well try to get hit while you're getting health back, right? So in this mode, Terminids cost differently. Small Terminids are like 1 of a nation. I believe Bow Spewers are 2, and then Chargers are 10, and Bow Titans are 15. Ultimately, there isn't much to say besides you're just gonna want tons of crowd control for the light enemies being super numerous, and then bug breaches are just everywhere. So EMP mortar or stop the breaches in their tracks, but it's still a really rough mission going solo. So now we're out of the easy side. Let's go to the hard side, the Automaton side. So the Automaton side has a bunch of side objectives. The first one is going to be destroy the Mortar Emplacement. So the mortars are probably the worst side objective to leave standing on the Automaton side. So against the Automatons, chilling behind cover and firing down the enemy is rewarded. But with the mortars, if you chill behind cover, you die. And if you move, you die by getting shot from the bots. So this side objective should take precedence over everything else in the area. So the mortars have a backplate that you can shoot, but you will have to shoot it with something explosive, like EATs or the Quasar or the autocannon. You can't use like a slugger. Impact grenades work well too. So the mortars can be seen from afar shooting, and they extend outside the base, so you can kill them all without having to get into the base. So the newest Automaton side mission is going to be destroy the gunship facility, and this is like a wheelchair looking icon. It is basically the Shrieker nest, but on your Automaton side. The Shrieker nest could be destroyed with the Quasar though, and this can't even be destroyed with the 380mm orbital. So I tried doing nukes on it. I tried doing 380mm orbital, didn't seem to take it out. I had to do hell bomb and hell bomb only. So you will have to run in and actually deal with these enemies. If you shoot them with a rocket on the nose, they don't go down. You have to shoot them in their boosters. One good thing about the Automaton gunships is that you can pretty easily spot them on the map. I actually think that this Automaton side mission is a little harder than most because you can't just not deal with it. You really have to get in there and put a hell bomb down. And the gunship, when it sees you, it calls reinforcements, which was something that the Shrieker nest used to do, but now they have patched that out. So I don't know if that's something that they're going to do in the future. But with these, you will have to kill the reinforcements. You'll have to destroy the gunship when it's coming at you. Then you have to get in close. I guess a good thing about it is that the gunships come out a lot slower than the Shriekers do, but it is still the same when the gunships will keep on accumulating if you don't deal with them or have anything to do with them. So next up is going to be the anti-air, and this is going to be taking out your Eagle stratagems, so you won't be able to use your Eagle stratagems until this is taken care of. But it's very similar to the mortars. You have to destroy with something explosive, you have to use impact grenades. It's very straightforward. So next up is the Strategem Jammer. This is the higher level anti-air emplacement. It disables all of your stratagems, not just your Eagles, at about 150 meters. And if you try to throw a stratagem within its proximity, it won't go off also. So you have two ways that you can destroy this. You can either go destroy the fabricator that's on the side of it, or you can go and click on the computer that's in front of it. So the next side objective is going to be the microwave, the SAM site, the surface to air missile. And it does exactly what it says it does. It actually does shoot down drop ships that are coming near it. I'm gonna guess like 150 meters, since that's like the range for everything in this game. But yeah, this one's really straightforward. It just kind of helps out around the area. So the Sauron Eye, or Detector Tower, can see you from I believe it's 125 to 150 meters away. The Sauron Eye will start looking at you closely if you shoot or make noise, and then it'll call drop ships whenever it starts to actually see you. The Sauron Eye can't be destroyed by like eagle strikes. You have to use a nuke or something larger like a hell bomb, but there really isn't much to it besides that. So now on to the main Automaton missions. We're gonna have the Sabotage Air Base, which is gonna have 3 missions in total. It's gonna have 1 control tower and then 2 air bases. The control tower is gonna take an SSD stratagem to be brought down, and then you have to grab it and then take it to the terminal. Once you put the SSD in the terminal, it now has power and you can use it to destroy the control center. But there is no other way to do it, so you will have to do this process. You can't like use a nuke or anything explosive. You will have to bypass all the enemies, get to the spot, put the SSD in it, then use the terminal to destroy it. Takes a while, but the other two sub-objectives are a lot easier. So the next submission is really straightforward. It's just 3 dropships that you have to destroy. You can use an autocannon, or you can use anything explosive. You can use like 1 Eagle airstrike and then destroy all 3 of them. So the April 2nd patch brought out that the Destroy Command Bunker's main mission now has more. So before in Helldive, you would only see like 3 command bunkers. Now you can go up to 4. I guess the command bunkers was too easy, or easier than the hatcheries. So I agree with that. All it really took was 2 nukes kind of thrown across like the side, and then you would kill it. So, and then you could just run. From what I can see though, the patch didn't change anything else. So it still takes 2 nukes to kill 1 bunker, and you just have more of them. So next up is the Exterminate Automaton missions, and these are exactly what they say are. You will be overrun with a ton of automatons and will have to destroy 400 units. And each unit costs differently. So light units are 1, berserkers are 2, I believe hulks are 10, and tanks are 15. So you want to run this mission with a squad, just like Exterminate Terminids, for how much you get overrun. It's extremely hard to do solo. I feel like with the Terminids, you can cheese the area, probably like 1 out of 5, 1 out of 10 times, but I feel like the automatons, you would have to get like impossibly lucky to do this consistently solo. EMPs, mortars are really good on these missions. I feel like there is a good way to cheese the game with smokes in some ways. Boosters like extra reinforcements is also good here. You can try to shoot down the dropships right from the start to get a ton of kills early and give yourself more time, but the dropships start coming down like immediately. So this mission used to be easier, but we were cheesing out the win by destroying all the dropships coming in 1 by 1, so devs made it harder. It's still doable, I feel like, with 4 people, but 1 it's almost impossible. So that is all for the race specific missions. Now there's a ton of just neutral and just general missions out there, so we're going to go ahead and start with those. Specifically these 3 that you can see from your destroyer before you even drop down. So the Terminate the Illegal Broadcast is really just like a basic beginner mission. It is there just so that when you're like level 1, you have something to do. It can be destroyed by anything, so even if you throw an impact grenade at it, an EAT at it, any Eagle strike, it's just everything can kill it. So the second basic mission is going to be Destroy Rogue Research, and it says specifically destroy all facility buildings, and that sounds like there's more than 1, but there's actually just 1. And the facility building that you have to destroy is stronger than the other buildings around it, so you have to use a hell bomb or a nuke to destroy it. You can't use anything else. So if you're trying to destroy all the buildings around it, it's really just 1. So the last side objective mission is going to be the upload escape pod data, and it's extremely straightforward. You just run up to the pod whenever you find it on the map. You get a stratagem to download the data. You input the stratagem, and then after that, you just have to stay around the area until the stratagem is uploaded. I believe if you leave the area, it resets. I don't really even do these anymore sometimes. I just kind of go to them, and there's like 3 to 4 samples around them, grab them, and leave. So this is my favorite side objective. I love how this is in the game. It's the radar station. This is the best side objective on the map. The information it gives you is just so great. It just makes everything so much faster. Once you get this done, you can see every objective on the map, even the minor areas that you can come across. Small tidbit on this, if you turn the radar to the right, it'll go to the left. And if you turn the radar to the left, it'll go to the right. So right side, it's going to go clockwise, and left side, it's going to go counterclockwise. The next side objective is going to be the SEAF Artillery. This is basically 5 artillery shells that become a stratagem when you load it. So the one that you want to get the most is going to be the mini nuke, which is yellow, and the explosive, which is red. And there's another red one that can have a point on top of it, but it could look exactly the same as the explosive, and that's napalm. And then there is the blue and the gray, which is a smoke and an EMP. There's a lot of talk about how if you activate the SEAF Artillery, it's going to bring enemies to you. That's not true. And the aspect of them just coming straight for you from across the map, it's the SEAF Artillery makes a sound when it turns. So once you click the button, it starts to turn around and get in position. That sound will draw enemies to you if they're next to you. Oh yeah, and drop sprinting makes it faster. So now we're on to the neutral main missions, and you can see these missions on either the Automaton or the Terminate side. The first one we'll cover is the launch the ICBM. This is my personal favorite. I just love the way the nuke sounds and looks. So it comes with, well, it can come with 3 submissions, like power up the generator, retrieve launch codes is always there, and then pump fuel to the ICBM. All 3 of these are going to be guarded. The launch codes, all that really is you picking it up. So you can just run over there, bypass all the enemies, pick it up, run out. But even if you don't get out, the launch codes stay with you. The power generator is very straightforward. You just go up to the power generator terminal, start it up like usual, and then just do all the tasks it sets for you to do, and the last thing you're going to do is pull the lever. So then you have to pump fuel to the ICBM, and all that really is getting over here to this area, turning on the terminal, and then twisting the tanks. Sometimes you won't be able to see the tanks because they're gunked up, so you just got to shoot the gunk off, then twist them. So when you are finally at the nuke terminal, you go to the terminal, you push the button to start it, and at this point, you can now start manually lifting the hatches for the nuke. So a teammate can be, or teammates can be lifting up the hatches already while you keep on continuing with the terminal. And that right there is probably like the most efficient that you can get. You turn it on, someone else does all the hatches, and then you just keep on going. But besides that, that's the end of it. You finish off the terminal's tasks, and then the nuke goes off and you're done. Going on to the ore excavation mission. This ore excavation always has 2 submissions, which is basically find the source of the ore. So whenever you get to these areas on the map, you will get a stratagem that drops down a ore sensor, and the ore sensor will pop up. You'll have to turn it on like a regular terminal, and once you do the first step, it's going to call reinforcements onto your position. So these reinforcements do not care about the reinforcement timer. So if you have enemies on you that just came up from being reinforced, it will call a second breach of reinforcements down on you. A good tidbit about the ore excavation is a lot of the times I can do the steps on the sensor before I even finish off the reinforcements. If you just keep on keeping on with those terminals, you'll be able to do the ore sensor submission before the reinforcements even get to you sometimes. So now on to the upload data main mission. This one's really straightforward. It's just a little harder when you're soloing. So this one usually has 2 submissions, which is to acquire an SSD briefcase and then walk it to the main objective area. So the briefcase is the hardest part about this mission, is because you will have to use your secondary while you're carrying it. And if you only have one person carrying an SSD all the way to the end and then coming back and getting another SSD, it takes a while. But there really isn't much to say about this one. You take the SSDs to the end, you put the SSDs in, then you use the terminal, and then you upload the main data. So on to the transfer E710 to shuttle mission. Basically, you're gassing up some Pelicans. The main mission comes with 2 submissions, which are to activate pumps for the oil. This is similar to the ICBM fueling. All you gotta really do is go to a terminal, turn it on, and then go to the gunky tanks and twist them. And once those are twisted, that's the end of the submissions. The last main mission basically is you hooking up the Pelicans to the oil geyser. You have to hook and then unhook the Pelican twice. And once both of them get fueled up, you're done with that mission. So now the last 2 main missions are very similar. They're evacuating civilians, but one is actually harder than the other. So evacuate civilians is a 40-minute mission, and this can have 2 sub-objectives, and you have to go and establish communication uplink, which is just like turning on a terminal and calling down the SSD briefcase to upload the data, but you don't have to run with it or anything. So the very last mission here is you have to evacuate the civilians. So there is going to be like these little houses that have little buttons next to them. You click on the button and 3 civilians will run out. You have to do about like 20 to 30 civilians, so it'll take about 7 to 10 pushes. The civilians will draw aggro from nearby enemies. A small tidbit here though, so if you're using artillery attacks like eagle strikes or nukes, you can make the ground uneven, and that causes the civilians to get stuck sometimes. So with the ground stopping the civilians from moving, you'll have to nuke that area, and hopefully the area that you nuke is going to open up where the civilians can actually walk through it now. Otherwise, you'll have to restart the whole mission over and just do not feel like doing that. So the last mission here is going to be rescue the science teams, which is very similar to evacuate priority citizens, but it's in a lot smaller of an area. And the enemies are a lot more numerous in such a small area. I think this is actually like the hardest mission type, because at least with the Exterminate Terminids or Exterminate Automatons, you just have to kill them. And this one, you have to kill them and protect the citizens. And the enemy spawns are extremely close. Right now, the best way to do this mission is to have 4 players. Having 1 player, I feel like is almost completely impossible. You have to destroy all of these enemies while protecting the civilians, and it's just so hard to go and press the button while protecting them while they're running, while killing the enemies. So the main way to do this mission right now is to have everyone run away from the main site. Everybody draws aggro really far away from where the citizens are. You fight the enemies and you call reinforcements on those areas, and then one person runs away and goes and starts pressing the button. The people who are fighting cannot stop fighting. They are meant to kill everything they see, but they have to let some enemies live so that those enemies can call reinforcements where they are. And then you just want the enemies to stay as far as possible, fighting as long as possible, while that one person evacuates as many citizens as they can. For some reason, the Rescue the Science Teams has the same amount of samples as a regular mission does, like a 40-minute mission. Not sure why that's the case, but because of it, the area is a lot smaller than most missions, with the 60 samples and like 30 rare samples and 6 super samples, that a lot of players are coming in as a 4, and all they're doing is getting all the samples because the area is so small, and then leaving. So you can use this place as like a sample farm if you need to. So right now it's April 3rd, and a lot of patches are coming out with new missions. I feel like this game is going really, really fast in the content that it has. A lot of the times I try to make a video and it's just like, my video's done with because the patches came out. I feel like everything I said is probably going to become obsolete soon, but hopefully I was able to give some insight on any questions y'all had. Some of these missions are more straightforward than others, so I didn't have much to say on a few. I don't think I forgot any, but I have a feeling I forgot like 1. Well, thanks for everyone for watching. I had a lot of fun making this video. I hope to see y'all around. Laters.